To me, this is a lot of constant wall of sound guitar, and I'm very concerned with that wall of power and sound. So for this one, I'm gonna start with my two main guitars. I want to get into the compression mastering land because it just makes sense to make these thousands of decisions in that zone, in that world up there, you know, because that's the sound of your record instead of applying all this limiting and compression and having to chase your tail. The one thing I'm going to just start with now is balancing. I look at my bass. This is, I bet you guys get mixes and you have bass like split on many tracks, right? Like the DI, maybe an amp, or, you know, and I'm sorry, this session's so simple, but that's just, my attitude at the time and our thing, I was like, we worked really hard on our sounds and I didn't want to print too many tracks, and I had DIs for it, but I wanted to sound good and have them play through the good sound. We were happy to commit to it. Call me old school, whatever. It worked for this band and we had a good take on what it should be. This is how I'm thinking right now. I'm starting with the wall of sound. Of course, my main guitars are panned hard left and right. I look at bass, even though it's one track, as mid-range and bass and sub. There's a character to the mid-range that I want to hear probably a little more of in metal than the average guy, because I feel like bass matters too. Bass is going to be primarily mono, and these rhythm guitars are going to be stereo. As I'm moving up the bass, one, I want to find a position where I'm hearing the mid-range on the smaller speakers. I'm hearing the mid-range character coating those guitars really good, but, very big but, don't fuck your stereo image, because as you go too loud, bass is mono, bass is going to start squashing your perception of stereo. And I think maybe psychologically that's why a lot of metal guys undermix bass, because they're so thinking guitars, and they're so thinking wide. So I'm gonna blend that in there to a point where I'm thinking I hear the character loud and it's not very wide now. That's a great starting point. Now I want to give you guys a little secret. Just one time you got a reason, for you have nothing to lose. A man reaching for the pen and congregation. It must be easy to lose. I always want the vocals in, but let me just ghost them. I bet a lot of you guys mute vocals out and then deal with them later. I always want them ghosting in there, because I just love vocals. And they answer questions for me about the music. So I'm just gonna put them in low. It just makes me happy. Make that a little stony and wet. That, guys, is stereo delay going into the output of the delays going into a reverb. That's what that is. Looking inside of there, my main lead, it's a doubled lead performance. My main lead is panned a little off to the right. I do that a lot, and I feel like why these melodic events often, you know, I don't want them center. They may be working around vocals. Why do I pan them off to the right? I just feel like, I don't know, one of my main reasons is I feel like driving in the car, often your leg is blocking the speaker on the left and the right is more open. That's one of my reasons for choosing the right for these melodic events often.
It's not a bad reason.
Yeah, it's not a bad reason. And then I'm taking its double, and to make it stony, I'm moving that off to another side a little bit. It's like a stereoizer, but it's a unique track. We're hearing most of this. Let's move on. Where's that? All right, and these are the finite little fun things I'm talking about. Like I want that snare to blast with reverb or real room. What's up with that? Yo. All right, last little bit of cool automation on this pouncing pit. This is something I would spend my next couple hours on. But let's show you this. Let's take these rhythm guitars. Okay, see how those drums almost dominated those rhythm guitars right there? All right, let's take the entire guitar bus. Let's put it out bus 35, which is the total outsides. I'm gonna be able to ride that up, and those toms and everything are slamming into my some compression, but I'm gonna be able to put these guitars up and not affect anything. All right, let's clean that up. Take that off. And nothing got pushed in or tucked in. We're loud, we're slamming. Questions?
Yeah, we got a few.